And we are back with another Black with No Cream podcast. New episode every single Wednesday and Sunday. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, a.k.a. Ben Realverse World. And today's special guest is my girl, Brandi Marie King. She is an actress, content creator, and social influencer who made a name for herself on Vine, creating sketch videos with people like King Batch, What's Good, Splack, Woody the Great, and many others. With the closing of Vine, Brandi moved to Instagram, where she was able to capitalize on the early stages of influencer marketing. She established herself as a full-time influencer, working with major brands. Brandi has built a following of over 300,000 followers on her Instagram, another 300,000 on Facebook, where her content includes comedy sketch videos, movie reviews, and more. Brandi now has established herself as a movie reviewer after creating relationships with all the major film studios. She attends some of the biggest film premieres in Los Angeles to give fans behind-the-scenes looks, first impressions, and full reviews on her YouTube channel. In this episode, some of the things that we talk about are a life crisis moment she experienced where she decided to drop everything and move to Los Angeles with no plan, finding jobs as a PA to try and open up doors in the industry, getting casted to be in a Pharrell music video, how she was able to get 60,000 followers on Vine without even posting on her own feed, stories from the trips that she takes to interview celebrities and do movie reviews, like her trip to New York City where she was able to interview the GOAT, Sandra Bullock. All of that and so much more. In this episode, you will learn about the inner workings of social influencer brand deals, the art of creating content for different platforms and making a full-time living off creating content for Instagram. You will learn how to break into the industry and what it takes to achieve your goals. I am stoked for you guys to hear this interview, but if this is your first time tuning in the podcast, you are probably wondering,
what the fuck is Black with No Cream?
Great question. Black with No Cream is the illest educational resource for content creators fueled by caffeine. Or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We have thousands of members from all around the world working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our private group if you want to by going to bwnc.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. All right, that's it. Enjoy the work week. Keep creating. Make sure to tune in every single Wednesday and Sunday for a new Black with No Cream podcast episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Black with No Cream. You can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We post a bunch of amazing educational content there for creators. And without further ado, I bring to you my interview with Brandi in the most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now.
Attention.
If you stop this podcast recording at any time, you will die.
I don't want to die.
Do you want to live? Yeah.
You have 24 hours to share this podcast with 5 people or you will die.
I'm kidding, you won't die. You're just weak shit for not sharing.
And the winner of the best motherfucking podcast goes to...
Black with No Cream.
What do you think?
It's so fucking dumb and so fucking Ben Haggerty.
I knew you would say that. All right, we'll start now. That was good. That was a great intro. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You're great. I'm gonna move this mic around just so everyone can hear you in full HD.
I talk quiet, yeah.
No, Brandi Marie King. Do you like to go by that full name? Is that how people will say, hello, Brandi Marie King?
Yes. I am so mad that my Instagram, my whole branding is Love Brandi Marie.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be Brandi Marie King or Brandi King. And when I first was like, all right, I'm a influencer, everybody talked me out of King because they were like, that's too masculine. And then when Beyonce started going by King B, I was like, you see, guys, this could have been me.
Could have been you.
Yeah.
The queen
so
and the king.
So people think my last name is Marie. So that's why I'm like Brandi Marie King, because I don't want to take out Marie.
Right.
But I want to add King.
I feel like that's pretty tough to deal with like social media shit because it's like kind of stuck with what you start with. Mm-hmm. And I think my cousin grilled me, and I think I learned this early on when AIM was around. Did you ever fuck around on AIM? I would have a new screen name like every week.
Okay, no, you would have got on my nerves.
I know.
All my friends that did that, I'm like, I cannot find you.
That was the problem.
They would update with boyfriends' names and like,
oh man, I know, my skater dude, blah 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 blah. What up, cuz? It's me. And he'd be like, dude, stop changing your name or I'll never accept you again. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of how this works, I guess. So. No, I know it's funny. I don't know if you remember this. There was a time where we made a video together a while back.
Of course.
With Woody. And this shit never came out.
I was about to ask because when I was on my way over here, I was like, did I ever see it or did I make up an edit in my head?
I was trying to find it real quick before you came here, and I don't know where. It's on one of my drives. It's done.
Okay.
And it was funny.
I think it's time to release it.
I think it has to. I sent it to Woody a bunch of times, but then he was like getting into his whole acting and like really kind of crushing
not
it.
an influencer,
yeah,
not
he's like,
a dancer.
I can't post this right now. But it was so fucking funny. There was like, I think the concept was you came in all hot girl and he was on his phone and maybe you were his girlfriend and he was like swiping or something.
He came through the phone.
Or yeah, he came through the phone. Oh, it was you just like checking out Instagram and you were adoring Woody. Damn, I forgot it. This was like over 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I met Woody through Chris Brown, and then he linked me with you, and you guys were all just kind of making a ton of content around that time.
I had just like started buying around then.
Right, but it was so funny. We need to redrop that one, we need to drop it to begin with.
I'm ready.
Yeah, but this is not about Woody. Sorry, dog.
Hey, Woody.
It's not about you. I feel like you've been doing so many different types of content since I met you. Since then, you talk about being from doing Vine and making that short form stuff. You guys did a ton of shit and still do a ton of stuff with Facebook videos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But now you're doing like movie reviews, and I feel like you're at every. I think I was editing a video for The Rock, highlighting, and I think I saw you for like a second, but it was like one of those things where I'm like, nah. Probably
for
not.
Jumanji?
Yeah, and then I look at your Instagram and you had a picture of you in front of the Jumanji sign. It was like the same thing.
Yeah, I am so excited. So I started getting invited to movies as an influencer maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it might be like one every couple of months.
Right.
And then once you get on Getty, you're kind of recognized a little bit more. You have a little bit more respect. And so I started finding my pictures on Getty, and then I kept getting invited more and more. I'm lucky enough to have relationships with almost every major studio.
Yeah.
So like I have direct contacts with Paramount, Universal,
Warner
Brother, and just like having that relationship offline with them, like they are just like text invites. Like it's not some formal, it's like, hey, come out tonight. Sometimes it'll be related to like a brand deal, but a lot of times they just know I love movies and the end goal is acting. So I was kind of like, all right, I'm spending a lot of time watching movies, going to premieres. How can I like turn this into working kind of also?
Yeah,
so then I just started doing movie reviews just to see how that would go and get me on camera and like hold myself to uploading to YouTube, because I abandoned my channel for like 2 years.
Oh man.
So yeah, this is the whole rebuilding phase.
Right.
And so I also researched, like, it's a lot of guys who do movie reviews and they get sometimes too deep and like go all technical, and it's just like I want to be like the girl next door who's kind of telling you should you see it or not,
right,
and like what I liked and disliked and kind of what to expect. I don't want to give away spoilers though,
right?
So I'm not that girl.
So the process is you go to a movie, you do the whole red carpet, which is cool because in the videos you like show behind, like,
I like to do my behind the
scenes,
yeah,
and then you watch the film and then just come back and report on it immediately and try to get it up as like soon as possible.
The first time I did that was for Bad Boys. This time, the other times I would wait till the next day or a couple days to marinate. Sometimes I would want to see it twice because I would get distracted in the film. Like, you gotta watch it a little bit different when you're gonna review it. Like, pay attention to different things instead of just enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to come up with my formula. I also think it matters. It depends on the movie. Like, Joker was intense.
Insane.
So I could not like, oh, what was this shot like? I was like scared for my life. So I did have to like marinate on that and then put it out. But Bad Boys, I stayed up till 4 a.m. doing the review. And then I realized I looked a little tired. I was a little delirious. So maybe we won't do that again.
Yeah, because like if you went to the red carpet for Joker and Bad Boys and you do all this stuff. So for people who don't understand timeline wise, what time is that usually starting at? Because you have to get ready, you're wearing nice clothes and doing all this stuff.
It's a whole day. Like, I also got to get better at that because I've decided I'm tired of doing my hair and makeup. Like, sometimes I'll do it, but sometimes it's better to just like sit down, relax before the chaos of a carpet.
Right.
So for Bad Boys, I started getting my makeup done at 3. And then from 3 to maybe 6 is like hair, makeup, getting dressed, and then Ubering to TCL, the Chinese theater. And they're doing this thing now where there's like a pre-red carpet party reception. So that started at 5:30, where it's like drinks and bars and food, and you're just in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard, just having a party. And then like Will and Martin roll up in their Porsche at like 6:15, and the movie doesn't start till almost 8. So
God
it's
damn.
a long day.
Yeah. And then you're trying to edit something and be
Oh yeah, I
thoughtful
didn't
in a
edit
review.
that night. I just like shot it and then I spent the whole next day editing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But it's super cool to be able to like be like, yeah, just like pull up and party in the middle of Hollywood and get to see famous people and mingle and shit. Is it okay? I want to get to we could talk about this. We will talk about this, but there's so much more that happened to get you to this point. Where are you from originally, and how did you start getting into like creating?
So I'm from Sacramento, California, Northern California.
Yeah.
Yes. And I went to school in UC San Diego, or at UC San Diego, and the goal was I'm gonna move to LA right after college.
Right.
That didn't happen. I could not get a internship anywhere. I wanted to be an entertainment reporter. So I was like, I'm gonna work for E. I'm gonna move to LA. Didn't happen. I had to move home, had no money, was trying to save up. And my whole family, they really wanted me to be like a state worker, like an office job with benefits. Like that's all
safe.
Yeah, safe. And I just knew deep down, I was like, this is not what I want to do. But technically I was overqualified for a lot of jobs that like my family was trying to help me get. And like, I spent a year and a half applying and like not getting jobs that I'm overqualified for. So I'm like, this just means I'm not supposed to do it. Like I'm trying too hard to do something I don't want and it's not even working. And then a lot of things happened. I just did a YouTube about this. My boyfriend like showed up on my doorstep and broke up with me. My car got broken into. My dad had me move out. I had to live on my friend's couch. All this like within a week.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, F this. I'm going to LA. Had no plan. Luckily, my cousin, I had two cousins out here, and one of them had a roommate that kind of just dipped on her, put her in a bad spot.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm going to come. And I had enough like just to pay for 1 month's rent.
Right.
Again, no job lined up, and I just moved here. My first job was, I don't know if you know the show Judge Faith. It's like a Judge Judy show.
Okay.
And I was the person that would go to the Inglewood courthouse and look up cases to like pitch to the show.
Damn.
So I would drive to Inglewood every day, wait in line with all these people who really want to like sue people. And I'm just like, oh, which one's interesting?
Yeah.
And then that became too much. And then another cousin, I found, my family is huge. I'm Cape Verdean, Black, Portuguese, Mexican, Indian, and Irish. My Cape Verdean side is huge. And so since I moved here, a lot of my family was finding out like, oh, you have a cousin that lives out there too. And my cousin Antonio, he worked for this production company called Pretty Bird.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of Pretty Bird.
Yeah, and so he was able to get me an in-house PA job. And
Dope.
I was like, oh my God, I made it.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
a PA, I'm on set. Like my first job was a CoverGirl commercial with Katy Perry on the Universal lot. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm here.
You get celebrity plus the lot. Like
I
your
was
lot
just like,
experience.
I was loving it
Yeah.
until I found out what a runner was.
Oh yeah.
And that was my job for the day. And then it turns into me driving down Hollywood Boulevard crying, having a breakdown because I can't find her certain bottled water that is only sold at this store. And so then I was like, all right, this is stressful. So I'm an in-house PA. I'm like, I'm loving it, but at the same time, it's like getting coffee, going grocery shopping.
Yeah, the grunt. No one.
So then, this was like my Hollywood moment. So Paul Hunter, he was there working on stuff with Dr. Dre at the time, and also Pharrell. This was like right when Apple Music was about to launch,
right.
And Pharrell had the song Freedom. And so I would see Paul here and there. I mean, I loved all his music videos.
During your
Pretty Bird.
internship? Okay.
Yeah.
Or no, you were a full-time PA?
Yeah.
Got it.
At Pretty Bird. So it was like 9 to 5, Culver City. And so, yeah, he pulls me aside one day. He's never talked to me before. And I just remember, like, I'm walking back to my desk. I just made copies or something. He was like, look at me. And I was like, okay. He's like, let me see your eyes. And I was like, okay. So I'm just, like, staring at him. Then he pulls out his phone, and he's like, takes a picture of me. And I'm like, and he was like, I'm sending that to Pharrell. I'll get back to you. I was like, what?
What?
So then next thing I know, an hour later, he's like, can you be on set tomorrow? And I'm thinking to PA. I'm like, yeah, I want to go be on that set. And he's like, all right, you're going to be our Indian girl. They'll give you the details. So he just cast me in the video to play. I guess they like literally went all the way to India to find a girl that looked like the National Geographic cover.
Yeah.
You know, that girl with like the crazy eyes, and they couldn't find anybody. And this is literally the day before the shoot.
It was you.
And it was me. So
was that like a main girl? Are you like a main?
I'm like, it's like a 5-second clip. It's like they just have a lot of cuts of like people around the world.
Oh, got it.
And so I was like, oh my God, I made it. I'm a star. It's over. I quit.
You quit your job.
No, I didn't quit, but that's what I thought. So I show up the next day, and it was so funny because everybody I worked with is now like, do you want coffee,
yeah.
Brandi?
Wow.
All my friends are like jealous and mad, and it was crazy. So now I'm on set getting directed by Paul Hunter, and in a Pharrell video. Never did anything in my life yet. So that was my first experience, and then nothing happened after that. I mean, I was in it, but I was still a PA, you know, no agent, no nothing.
Right.
And then I go to a Super Bowl party. The only people I kind of knew out here at the time were the Wayans family. I had met Craig Wayans, which is Marlon and Sean's like a nephew, and their other nephew, Greg. And a couple comedians, Howard and Fu, and I was kind of just like the homie, like the girl homie with them. Like I would go to all their comedy shows and kind of just hang out. So they took me to a Super Bowl party, which happened to be at Lamorne Morris's house.
Right.
I didn't even really know who he was at the time either. I didn't really watch New Girl, but I heard about it. And
funny dude.
Yeah, he's
Very
hilarious. And at the time, that was where I met everybody that I didn't know who they were until later. So like Wes, Daystorm, Leanne, Batch, everybody was there, like top Viners at the time. And Wes approached me. It's a funny story because he just came up to me and was like, I love you, and then walked away.
Okay.
Yeah, fast forward, we're dating now. And but at the time, he's like, do you want to shoot videos with us? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, let's do Vines.
And you weren't paying attention to them,
no,
but you knew...
I still had a private Instagram, like hiding from employers. Like, no, I didn't even know what social media was really. I didn't make any videos. I had no idea what Vine was. I didn't even have the app on my phone.
So to you, when you're at this party, you don't even realize, like, you don't realize that these people are like the ones
I'm just
killing
in the
it.
corner, scared, nervous, been here like 3 months, just like, oh, Super Bowl, I don't know anybody.
Hold on, before we get into this section, take me back real quick. When you were in school, your goal is to become like a reporter for E! So like what was the programs that you were taking for that? Like, what do they offer for school?
I did media communications.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, I love my school, but I wish I would have went to like Northridge.
Okay.
That I was debating between those two because the UC was so research based, and it was a lot of just like reading and writing, and they didn't have any like on-camera programs or anything like that.
Right.
Whereas like Northridge, they had on-camera classes and all this stuff. So I was taking like communication and stuff, but again, it was very research. And then I would take acting on the side because deep down, that's what I really wanted to do.
Right.
So I did improv and I trained with acting, and they're known really well for their acting school. Like James Avery, he graduated from there, and he was huge in their theater community.
So it's good to be able to take those classes to kind of like get a sense of what that's like, but you weren't fully indulged with it. It wasn't like full-time acting or full-time on camera.
No, I still had to like hit my requirements and like do classes I didn't really want to take.
Yeah, algebra 2 or some stupid shit.
Yeah.
I was communications all day too, so it was like,
I hate math.
It's like, why am I doing this if I just want to pick up that camera forever? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So what I want to get at was like you going to school and then kind of having this transition moment where at one point you're looking to be a city worker. You're moving to LA and winging it, and you're just kind of in the mix as a PA. When you were a PA, were you satisfied? Like, what was your mentality at that point being a PA? Were you thinking, all right, I'm PAing, I'm just running around making photocopies, getting coffee, whatever, but I see my boss is like this, or there's an executive that does this, or this producer does this. Did you start seeing interest in that, or was it always like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I want to act, or I want to be talent at some point?
It was kind of the second. I am very observant, so even if like I knew, like I didn't think I wanted to be a director, but I was still like, if a director was around, I would be asking questions like, oh, how do you know how to pick this lens? Or like I would talk to the sound people or the lighting people. I was kind of just trying to get a ground of like everything, because I've heard a lot of celebrities say like you should know your way from the front and to behind the camera.
Yeah,
so
true.
I was like, no matter what, like I'm learning something, and I was just happy to be there in the beginning. And it was just like rent, like I have to be here no matter what, because this was my first time living on my own, and like LA rent versus even Sacramento rent is triple. So yeah, it was kind of a mix of everything. I was just like adjusting to LA, adjusting to this type of entertainment world, and then how am I going to move forward?
Which is a great advice, because it is so true to be able to get in and see everything from a ground up position. And like some people don't like look at it like, oh, I don't want to be known. Like, I don't want people to know I just ran and got this person coffee a bunch of times, or cleaned coffee up off the ground, or some dumb shit. But it's like being in that position, you're able to eyeball every job, and get a grip on like, oh, cool, that's how the director does this, or that's how the actor. This is what the actor does between takes, and you kind of just get like an inside
and
scoop.
Everybody's so different, and they have such different methods, and so you kind of got to see what works for you. And now I appreciate everybody on set like so much, like just seeing that lighting comes like hours earlier just to make you look good. Like I don't think people really understand that. Right,
it's crazy. Okay, so you're at the party. Wes kind of confesses to you that he loves you, and low-key invites you to make content.
Well, he didn't even ask me at that time. Literally, that's all he said is "I love you" and walked away. I didn't see him the rest of the night.
So like later on,
then he stalked me on Instagram, because I think I had just made my profile like unprivate or like public. Scrolled all the way to my first picture, which I think was a baby picture, and he's like, "Congratulations, I found you," or something like that. And then so I'm like, all right, this weirdo.
Dude, he had a plan. He had a master plan. I mean, you guys, how long have you guys been dating?
We're going on 4 years.
Yeah, he had a master plan. That's hilarious. Shout out to him.
And then so months of me dodging him. I'm like, I'm not trusting no guy in LA. That's all I kept hearing. And then also just being out of a relationship that was like a 3-year relationship. So I was like, I'm gonna do me for a year.
Right.
That didn't last long. Our first date was going to Pitch Perfect 2 movie premiere, because he had shot some stuff for Esther Dean. He was still kind of known as a director then, but transitioning to like a huge Viner. He still like plays both sides, but it was more director back then, like music videos. Now he doesn't do music videos anymore. But yeah, and then so the first day, I had randomly got a day off from Pretty Bird, like, because they were all gone or something. And I show up and I'm like, what do I wear? Like, I'm literally like, what am I doing? What do I wear? How do I need to bring anything? And they're like, no, we just shoot like comedy videos, like just dress cute, just dress casual. Because I was like, okay. So then I show up and we do maybe like 6 vines in that day. I did like one with Leanne, one with Splack, one with Wes. And then they're all like texting me like, all right, what's your Vine so we can tag you? I'm like, oh, I don't even have one.
Oh my God.
So I make one right then. And that's when I chose Love Brandi Marie, which I'm like, oh my God, why did I do that? And then I wake up to like 60,000 followers.
Damn.
And I was like, and I didn't even have a video on my page
on
yet.
Your
it was just like tagging. And then so I was like, okay, this is gonna be a problem, because I'm like, I kind of like doing these, and this is fun. And I don't think anybody at the time was really making money yet. Like, there were a couple brand deals here and there, but it was so like new. Because
this is like the brink of everything flipping, because if no one's making money yet, everyone's still trying to figure out what this app is. It's like TikTok right now. It's like so many people are like, what the hell's happening? But they're still getting gang of followers. Brands are probably like trying to decide where to throw money at. But in Vine, it was the same way. Like, no one really understood what was happening. So you activate your account and you're starting to work with it. Oh, by the way, at that party, did anyone explain to you who these people were?
No.
So you just went as a homie, and no one was like, this is, you know what I mean? When you're at a party, some people's like, who's that person? Who's that person? They can like run it down for you.
No, I was kind of just observing. I was just like talking to random people. I don't even really remember who I talked to, but I was definitely just super shy and kind of to myself and watching the game and halftime. Okay, so you make the first video, you get 60,000 followers, which is nuts. How does that shift your play as like, because you're still PAing, you're still making your money there? So I still had to do all of that. still trying to get, I was working at Pretty Bird by day and still kind of doing extra PA jobs on the side by night, like
Right.
music videos, because they're super late.
Right.
And then everything changed. I got laid off because I answered the phone. I was filling in for the receptionist for the day, which I am not a receptionist. And I guess I didn't know that it was one of the bosses calling, and I didn't recognize her number. So by me saying, "Hi, this is Pretty Bird, how can I help you?" she got pissed off because I didn't address her as who she was.
Whoa.
And then the next day I'm laid off. And then so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have no job lined up. So I'm having this mental breakdown, like just stressing out about work. And then it actually just gave me more time to shoot with them. So as I'm like looking for jobs and doing temp work, I'm like kind of shooting 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
Right.
And then at this time also, I think is when everybody switched to Instagram. They had just launched the 15-second video.
Right.
And Vine was doing some stuff like trying to like, not diss them, but they were doing something where everybody was like, we're leaving Vine.
Right.
I don't know what they did. So yeah, everybody left Vine, and then we just started making like twice as long Vines on Instagram, and then my following started growing there. And I think at 10K was the first time I got approached for like $200 to promote a shirt or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yes.
So you never really had much of like a presence on Vine outside
No.
of just being in people's sketches, but
No, I made like maybe 3 or 4.
and then left the app.
Yeah.
Right.
As soon as I was getting warmed up, I'm like, all right. And they're like, we're gone. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Because that was like a big deal when
Yeah.
it was like a protest low key,
Yeah.
like, and that's what shut the whole app down. Is everyone's
Yeah.
like, fuck it, we're out of here.
Yeah, but it's such like a hard muscle to learn to make 6-second videos. I was like trying so hard to make ideas, but they were like 2-minute ideas. They're
Right.
like, no, you got to be quicker. You got to hit this quicker. And I'm like, no, but I really want to say this. And they're like, you don't have time.
Right.
So I wasn't getting the formula yet before everybody quit, which is
Damn.
why I didn't have a lot of Vines.
Right. Damn.
Yeah.
So you start to make the Instagram stuff for your
Yeah, so I started making Instagram videos. Still, again, that was back in the day when nobody was really that busy, and we could just spend hours making videos
Right.
that you could like save up for weeks
Right.
and put out. And I think I was still like temping here and there with jobs.
The $200 brand deal didn't pay the rent.
No.
What was it for? Do you remember what it was for?
It was literally like a random shirt company.
It was just like, we'll give you $200 to wear our shirt in a
can
video.
you post this and tag this? And I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it again. I was like, this
That
is
pretty
it.
much is making it. That's really it.
Yeah.
You got paid to do something cool.
But I came up with like, I was so blessed to come up with people who already knew the game
Right.
that like I wasn't making a lot of rookie mistakes. Like I would always check in with Wes, or like it's for female stuff like Fashion Nova. I remember talking to Leanne, and she was like, don't take that deal because then this might happen later. Like stuff I wouldn't think about that they all went through.
Right.
So that really helped like just skip a lot of like hurdles.
Right. Because
Yeah.
you were managing you.
Oh yeah, I was pretending to be my manager sometimes, or assistant, like writing in third person. Brandi
Right.
would love to do this. And
Yeah.
making my own deck. I was doing everything. Yeah.
What would you have to make decks for? It was like pitching what your content would
Kind
be?
of when you start working with brands, you want to show like I've worked with this company, so like just putting all the logos on a sheet, like super basic, just because a lot of people weren't doing that at the time, and it stands out like, oh, they have their own deck. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of official.
Were you learning that from working at Pretty Bird or?
From Wes
From
and
Wes?
everybody else. Yeah.
So those dudes have been doing it for a while. At that point, they'd already crushed Vine. Them moving
Yeah.
meant that they get to move like a herd of people to the new app, to go to Instagram. And at that point, they were making tons of brand deals and plays like that, right?
Yeah, I remember this is like when Lyft came out. I think Daystorm, it wasn't even monetary back then. They just did rides. Daystorm got like 500 Lyft rides. And so like that was
Like free rides?
yeah, like wherever, no limit. It's like you get in the car if you want to go to Malibu.
Wow.
Like, cool, that's a ride. So it was cool, like looking back now, like all these startups, people didn't know what it was yet, but we were kind of the guinea pigs, like trying all of these things. So stuff like that also helped with rent. So a lot of times I wasn't really getting money for brands. It was more like perks. So I would
Right.
try to find a way like, oh, well, if I work with this hair care company, I'm not spending
Paying
this
yeah.
to buy my
Of
products
course.
that I'm going to need. So I like finessed it that way also, like reaching out to brands.
You could just fuck 500 rides. You could act like you're a car service and just pick people up. Where'd you need to go? Yeah, I need to go over here. All right, I got you. And you just post up in the front with the driver.
Yeah, it was
Charge them for a ride. That is nuts.
They were having I think him and Batch were like battling it out who can get more rides, because back then that was when you would share your code.
Oh,
and
right.
then if somebody used it, then you would get another ride. So them posting it out to millions, hundreds of thousands followers, they were racking them up.
That's insane.
And then Lyft was like, okay, we're done with that.
We can't afford to give everyone a ride to wherever they want. That's crazy. I remember going over with Rudy and Mancuso, and he would at the Vine 1600 Vine or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when everyone was moving into that place and posting up and like collaborating and doing all this stuff. And we were driving up the garage, and someone in the back of the seat was like, damn, like it was a bunch of these exotic cars that were all in this apartment complex or whatever. And Rudy was kind of like, that's that person's, that's that person's or whatever. And then he was like, a lot of these kids are so dumb with the way they do these deals or their money that they're literally going out and buying these cars. And Rudy was in this Mustang. It was like a brand new, I don't know anything about cars, but a nice one or whatever. And we're cruising. He's like this car, I literally got the car as a brand deal. Like they gave me the vehicle plus like a bag. And he's like, and this is my car. I'm not going to go buy another car when they're just going to give me one to ride around and make one video.
Right.
And I was like, damn, A, flex, B, that's ridiculous. But he's like, these people buy these $200,000-$300,000 cars and then they just sit there. They don't ride them because they're always in the same building making videos. You know what I mean? And then now the app, you know, the market starts getting clustered with a bunch of people. I'm sure brand deals value go lower, et cetera. But it is interesting to think back then where people like him are just getting a vehicle, or you're able to get like small things that will make
it was so new. It was like there was companies that were like taking a really big risk, like, all right, we're gonna try it with this influencer. And then there's companies that were like still trying to, like, they know they needed us or they wanted us, but they would still treat us, but like, no, you're an influencer.
Right.
So it's like, you either want to work with us or you don't.
Right.
Like,
what would be, so then you get your first check or whatever, your focus now, and I'm sure everyone's encouraging you like, all right, cool, you can make a ton of money off this, like we should start strategizing how you can reach out to brands, or were you kind of waiting for brands to hit you?
I waited for a little bit because it was still new and I was like nervous to like show my profile if it didn't represent like what they represented. So I think that's why I kind of tried to diversify. Like I would show my sporty side, I would show my glam side, I would show I'm into movies, I'm into comedy, so that I could approach a certain brand and show like I do this content.
Right.
So I think the first company I reached out to was Ulta, and that was like me pitching to them. And then I got it, and I was like, oh my God, it worked.
Right.
It was like for some face mask or something. And that kind of like gave me the confidence to just keep reaching out, because then it was like all they can do is say no.
Of course.
So I have nothing to lose. So then I started making goals every day. I had to send out at least 10 emails or 10 DMs, because sometimes at the time they didn't even have like influencer marketing departments. It was just like customer service, and people were like,
So
wait,
crazy.
who do you want to talk to? What's wrong with your bed? I'm like, no, I don't have a bed. I want a Casper bed. And they're like, oh, we have a coupon code. I'm like, no. So then I would go to their Instagram and see like, oh, they only have like 500 followers.
Right.
But that also meant they weren't really checking it. So it's a lot of like waiting and kind of following up, and oh
my God, it's such a game too, because you guys are literally the pioneers of this space, you know. To kind of guess, and then you also don't know what your value is, you know what I mean?
That
like,
was hard too, because so many girls were accepting like almost anything, so that when I would be like, this is literally my value, and they're like, oh, literally, I don't care if I'm mentioning them, but like all the tummy teas, like they got on my nerves, because they would reach out to me once a week. They would have a new person. It's like, oh, here's $150 for 10 posts. And I'd
10
like,
posts?
Yeah, something ridiculous like that. And I'm at least at 200K by now. And I'm like, no. And they're like, well, so-and-so did it for this much, so there's no way we're paying you that much. And I'm just like, okay, bye.
Right.
The next week, hi, this is Margaret from Flat Tummy Tea. I'm like, Margaret, tell Dan, Billy, Joe, and Pam that I do not want to do it.
Right. And also make some sort of spreadsheet so you can mark out that I've said no.
Yeah. Also, like, I never just accepted stuff I didn't really want. Like, there were people that kind of just took any brand deal, and it's kind of like, what? That doesn't even match what you're into. I learned, again, from everybody, like, don't compromise your brand. So just whatever represents you. And, like, I don't really do alcohol, because I have a younger audience too, so I really took responsibility of, like, all right, what do I want my reputation to be? I have my grandma on my Instagram, like I have a lot of people watching.
And I think that's what I noticed a lot in, like, a lot of YouTube people, like, kind of reviewing, like, you'll see different creators be like, this is how much I made this year, and they'll be honest with you because I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it. And they always say that some of the biggest brand deals that they've been offered, they turn down because it compromises. It's usually some bullshit scammy brand, and that's gotta be tough to make that decision, because it's like, damn, I could do this for, like, a dumb big bag, and it is just one post or whatever, you know. You have to, like, make that decision. Have you had to deal with that a lot, like, as far as, like, finding these?
There was one time where it's like, I was literally like, I have 3 days to make rent, like, towards the beginning of it all, and I can't remember what it was. Something I didn't want to do, maybe like a tobacco company or like cigarettes or something, and it was like, all we need is you holding it and saying this, and I was like, I was trying to make excuses for myself. Well, I'm only holding it, I'm not smoking it or something like that. And then I was just like, no, it's not worth it. And Wes would always say, like, there'll always be more, like, this isn't the end, like, this. So then I'd always be like, all right, I'm turning this down, good karma's gonna come, I'm gonna get something that's better for me and for more money, probably.
And it happened. When did you quit? Well, wait, you got fired from Pretty Bird, so then you would do, like, one-off jobs. When did you transition into, like, I'm gonna be a full-time creator and make my money off of the brand deals and stuff? I
think when I hit around 100K, that was when I was able to be like, all right, this brand deal from Jolly Rancher will pay for bills for, like, 1.5 months. So then I have a whole month to either pick up side jobs or another brand deal until the next month. That's literally, like, how my life went. It's like, this brand deal needs to cover the bills. It wasn't about, like, oh, this is my value at the time, yet my rate was, like, my bills. So that's what I would base it off of.
That's so smart. And then you know, the good thing about that is you're saying, all right, cool, this is 1.5 months. That's you know, 42 days that I can spend making videos and growing my account and potentially reaching out to, you know, you're doing 10 emails a day or whatever. Like, you never know who you're gonna hit at that point. And then the goal would be that it starts just, like, duplicating, and you have, like, triples and you know what I mean, you're getting all these different brands coming in so that you're making that content. Did it become regular at a certain point, like, where it was kind of working, or do you try to stagger your posts so they're not always ads?
Oh yeah, I definitely was trying to stagger. Like, there's a couple times, like, even last year, like, towards Christmas is, like, when a lot of people want ads. So December, it was like, I think it was the California Lottery, Best Buy, and, like, Verizon. They all wanted posts, like, within a week. And I was like, I can't do that. Or I would have to post, like, 3 photos in a day just so on my grid it wouldn't be back to back. But yeah, I always try to spread it out so I don't feel like a addy page.
Do you think it actually is a bummer for people?
What, to see our ads?
Yeah, like, if you just ran it and posted, like, 2 ads back to back, do you think that, because it's the funny thing about the way we consume is it's so fucking quick. Like, we're just scroll, watch it, scroll. We were just talking about this on one of our Morning Roast episodes, but we're like, Dave was saying how he'll be watching a video for, like, 10 seconds and it's, like, a minute long, and then he scrolls, but then he realizes, like, why did I scroll? I want to watch that video. Like, we're triggered to go pop, 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 pop.
That's true, especially now with TikTok culture where it kind of scrolls for you when it's done. I've noticed that, like, I've naturally kind of just scrolled and then have to go back. But as far as ads, I wouldn't care, because, like, I like to make, like, good content, like, quality content. So I'm making a funny, good video. It just happens to be sponsored by Nike. I think what happens that I have to pay attention to, which I wish I didn't, is the performance of it. Because once people read the caption and they see ad or sponsor, they already want to tune out. They already have an attitude towards it, even though it could be really good.
Right.
So you have to find ways to like get them immediately to stay so that you can report back to the brand like it did good.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge for me.
So what would be like a strategy? Is it just like making sure that the video or the photo immediately pops within the first second so that they're tuned in right away? Or is it finding creative ways to create captions so that it's not?
Yeah, it's both of those. So there's a lot of companies that think they can make really good captions and they can't.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I would never say that. Yo guys, check this out, this awesome, and like I don't even use the word awesome.
Right.
Like I don't want to say that. So luckily sometimes brands are cool where there's just like, as long as you touch on this point, make it your own.
Yeah.
Also, when they want to have a whole paragraph, I'm like, no, that's too much. So it's tailoring the caption and then finding a clever way where it's just not in your face product placement. It might be in the corner and I'm like talking about it.
Yeah.
So it depends on what it is. Sometimes like you do have to have it in your face. Like if I'm doing a face mask, I have to put it on. But I might be like, I made it funny where like I accidentally FaceTime the guy I'm talking to and he wasn't supposed to see me in it. So it's just like maneuvering
It like fits.
around it.
Yeah. It like fits that. That's interesting. So were brands looking at was it more important for a brand to be attached to like your following count, or would it be about how the video itself performs? Like would you be like, oh hey, I'm averaging like this many views per video or likes or whatever to showcase that, or comments or whatever?
Yeah.
How do brands kind of value
back in the day, it was definitely followers. It's like if you had numbers, oh my God,
that's all people cared about.
Yeah. And then they started catching on that like, okay, this person has 2 million followers, but why are they only getting 50,000 likes?
Right.
That means we're not reaching them, which also ties into the algorithm and the chronological order changing and all of that. So everybody was kind of just like, what do we pay attention to? Even us, we're like, what do we showcase? Do we show our engagement? Do we care about comments? That's when people would start rewarding fans for commenting like, hey, like this photo and I'll spam your page, or comment this emoji. Like that was all everybody trying to figure out how to get everything up. So some brands, they really just care. I feel like they're going more towards like micro influencers now because they have a better connection with fans.
Right.
They have more time to engage with them and respond to comments, and usually micro influencers are very like focused on one specific topic, like whether it's hair care or like beauty.
Yeah.
So I think now it's more about what content you have and if it represents you,
right,
versus the numbers.
It's true though, because if you look at like whoever, someone with millions of followers, like the people are just so needy to specific types of content where they're just continuing to scroll by whoever it is if they're not posting what you want from them or whatever. And I think brands don't understand that. But when you look at like a micro level of it, like when we did a couple contests, and it's so cool to think of it from the standpoint of like, we're doing a contest, everyone's creating videos around it, but each person has their own reach, like whether they're the shit in their town, and like when they post their video, it's like all their friends and family are reacting to it. But that's low key like marketing, like you're low key marketing these people, and the reaction and action to entertain or respond or comment or whatever is so high, it makes more sense in the that's interesting. So then would you say, because you have like 300,000 people that follow your stuff at this point, there's a ton of accounts that will have millions.
Yeah.
Do you put yourself in a micro influencer bracket? Because that's a shit ton. 300,000 is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating when like everybody around me was like at millions now, but then also like a lot of people should be at a million that aren't, and there's people at a million like you shouldn't be at a million. I think micro influencer is like 50,000 or less.
Okay, word.
And then there's macro, like there's these different tiers now, but I feel like those keep changing too.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's so many people, like that's like going viral or whatever. Like you had like 60,000 made you instantly a micro influencer. You know what I mean? Without you didn't have any videos. It's just so funny.
It's crazy.
That's insane. So as things progress, like how are you experimenting with content? Because now you're kind of like living your dream originally from college. It's like you're able to start making content. You're in front of the camera. You're experimenting with like styles and whatnot. What was like some of the stuff that you were excited that you were doing at that time?
At what time?
Like during this era where you're like on Instagram, you're making these like 15-second videos, and that grows into longer form stuff.
I think kind of being able to do my reporty type stuff on YouTube is like what satisfied that like itch to be like a reporter, because like I'm always into celebrity stuff and like who's doing what. My first YouTube video was if Beyonce was pregnant for the Super Bowl performance, and so it was kind of like
really
talk show.
yeah
like, and that was something totally new. Like I had never really did any type of talk to you type of video on YouTube. I was like so scared of YouTube because I'm like, what do I say? So I started doing that. I started doing like question and answer videos, a little bit of beauty tutorials. So I feel like that was exciting because it's like stuff I've never tried but kind of wanted to do and realized I could do it, and there is an audience for it. And then even like maybe 2 years ago, whenever Ocean's 8 came out and Warner Brothers hired me to go interview the cast, I'm like, this is what I tried to internship for and go to school for, and I got it because I'm an influencer and because I talk about movies.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that was crazy. And like meeting Sandra Bullock and Cate Blanchett and now Awkwafina, nobody really knew who she was at the time, but I was like, she's gonna be hilarious. And she took off. So
and this was for your channel? Like you were making the video for your channel? Yeah, this was to make a vlog
on YouTube.
That's crazy.
And I had 8,000 maybe at the time subscribers.
Because when you were trying YouTube, was it just to get the itch like fulfilled? Like I just want to try these things and see, because at a certain point it was crazy to watch like how people from Vine were moving everyone to other platforms because in case it died, and a lot of people would push to YouTube and start making like 2-minute comedy sketches, and like that became popular, and then people are vlogging and that became popular. Was that you kind of following that trend of things, or were you just doing it to play like with ideas?
It was kind of play, and I also wanted to do longer things. Like as I was saying earlier, it was really hard for me to get short ideas. I always had these grand ideas, and at the time YouTube was the only place that you could have longer than a minute stuff. So I was like, I need to figure out how I'm gonna do YouTube. And I wanted to do vlogs. Like I kept hearing everybody like, you gotta diversify, you gotta be on every platform. And so I was trying to do that. Also excited to do longer content, and then kind of push myself to be on the camera more and test my editing skills. And like, because editing a 1-minute sketch, we would do that on our phones on iMovie, and so it was like crazy. I had to learn Final Cut Pro and the battle between, do I want to do Premiere, do I like so it was back to like, all right, let me know how to do everything.
Wow. So you guys were editing your Vines on iMovie on your phone?
Oh, and that when I showed up to do our first Vines with an Android, that was the biggest like roast session I've ever been a part of.
Because it wasn't an iPhone?
No, it was not an iPhone. And here's this girl from Sacramento. I'm like, I have the newest Droid. And they're like, how are we supposed to airdrop it to you? And
right.
I'm like, I don't know what's airdrop. So then I would get clowned, and then I did get an iPhone. Now I get it. Like camera wise, I get it.
I remember like from a creative standpoint and just me being obsessed with editing and stuff, I would watch videos and just be like, damn, like I can hear the audio pop because they didn't throw like a cross dissolve on just that, like little small things where I was like, damn, if I could have just done this, I would have made that video so much more like real or whatever.
And all that I learned from them, like learning about sound and lighting, like I would not have paid attention to any of that stuff.
When Woody, now I'm bringing it back to Woody, when Woody came over, because that was like the only time I really made a Vine video for someone else was with him, and he came over, I can't remember who was on the video, but I think Splack was in it and someone else, and it was like they wanted to do something with my drone because I was flying drones mad early, and I think I even reached out to like Amanda Cerny, and she responded to me like, "Oh, your drone stuff's cool." Like, and I was like, "Holy shit! What if I get in that space and like could work with these?" Like,
wait, was this in the backyard?
Yeah,
with Rome.
Yeah, with Rome was in it too.
I remember that.
And he like
pool.
punches and then he like flies in the air, and I was like, "What if?" And that's the idea. And they're like, "Oh, really? All right, cool." And they all stood behind me, which I didn't understand because they were just like wanting the video done because like they're so used to just cutting it on their phones or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like on the computer, I'm doing stuff, and they're all like over my shoulder, like, wait, what? Wait, how did you do that? So that fixes that? Damn, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And I was just like, yo, how do you guys get bags? And I don't get bags, and you don't know how to do this shit. That's crazy
Yeah.
to me. But that video is still on my Twitter feed, gets like
It was so
favorited.
good.
It's insane. I'm like, how is this still popular to people? Like, I
That
don't
was
know.
when drones were like super new
Brand
and
new.
like nobody could just go get one.
Yeah, and we
know
didn't
how
just
to
use it
it.
as like a establishing shot. It was like
Yeah,
that's part of
a
the
surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was funny. But I remember making that and then realizing how many people didn't understand it. It was cool when I started working with like Rudy and like Lele and all these people, because you get brought in from like a
Yeah.
creative standpoint, and they just do what they do, and then the videos try to be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was always exciting. So when you do the YouTube stuff, you know, you're saying like, I only have a few thousand subscribers on there. Are you working to try to find ways to get people from Instagram to YouTube, or are you just trying
Yeah.
to like letting it be? Because YouTube's its own world.
It
like,
is, and it's the hardest world.
Yeah?
in my opinion.
but
yeah.
now you talking about coming into like this review space. It's like if there's not very many women doing it. You're getting access, which is hard. I would imagine that a lot of the
Yeah.
other popular review channels, do they get access?
No, well, they'll get like press screenings, which are a little bit different than like the red carpet or influencer screenings.
Yeah.
So I feel like they are kind of just thrown in the theater, like here's the movie, whereas like I'll get the buildup of it, I'll get the PR boxes, like I really start to get a feel of what the movie is and
Right.
like what they're going for wise. I don't think that makes sense, but
No, I get it.
basically
Like,
like more
yeah.
of a build up instead of just like, oh, want to go to the screening tomorrow. It's like I'll get a box like for The Grudge. They sent me a box, didn't know it was for The Grudge. I never know what is in the box, and I
What's in
open
the
it
box?
up. There's hair,
What?
just like hair all over the box. Do you know the movie The Grudge?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was like a track of hair, and there was a welcome mat. And then there was like sage and a house cleansing kit, like for spirits. So I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Like I get a lot of crazy boxes, and that also makes it fun
Yeah.
to like get me in the mood for the movie and start thinking about what I want to talk about and
Right.
what to focus on when I watch it.
That's so
and
dope.
stuff
I didn't
like
even know that they did that for films.
Yeah. I got one for Ma, and it was literally like an iPad, like not a real one. I don't know how they gave me this disposable like screen, but I opened it and it's a video from Octavia like, hey girl, just want to let you know I'm having a house party tonight. Make sure you bring your friends. We're going to be drinking. And then it just like
That's
cuts
the
off.
invite.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they're really creative. So that's fun. I like all the details and
Yeah.
packaging and stuff like that.
No, I didn't even know that they did that. That's so cool. And that also adds to the experience of your video. Like to
Yeah.
be able to show that you got this like exclusive thing from them, and it's like a
Yeah.
collector's item. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like historical kind of to be able to have that.
Yeah,
as,
I wish I could keep it all. I was trying for
you have to send all that shit back?
No, I have to send it back.
I was
but
like,
like
they want
I
the
can't
hair?
keep it. No.
Right.
Like,
oh,
I
yeah,
have
to
no
literally have
room
no
in my
room.
house.
Right. Damn, true.
Yeah.
Shit. That's crazy.
Like I wish I could just have a shrine of like all my movie footage.
the people in the garbage place are just like, yo, what's going on in this
right?
chick's
Goodwill
house?
is probably so confused
Right.
when I drop stuff
Drop
off.
it off some random ass like
Yeah.
iPad and hair. They're like, this iPad is not even an iPad.
Yeah.
Like, what is this thing? Is it okay? So as you're making these videos, and also you guys attack like Facebook really well. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
you guys do, like Facebook was honoring any creator, and still I think right now it's like no, there's no better time to join Facebook because I was just talking to someone, Supercar Blondie. Do you know her?
No.
She has a YouTube channel and a Facebook channel, but she just reviews cars. Like she'll just
Oh.
get access to these like wild
That's cool.
cars and all this stuff. But they were telling us that Facebook's just like the place to be to post these videos because they're giving you way more money on ad revenue or whatever, but also just trying to suggest it to a ton of people because
Yeah.
they want people to go there for that. But when you guys were doing it, it seemed like they were really honoring pages. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it was like all of a sudden everyone was getting dumb numbers on Facebook,
Yeah.
and if you posted
That
it
grew
mattered.
faster than my Instagram.
Did it?
Back then? Yeah.
Was it because people knew you on Instagram, or what? What were you doing on
I think it's
Facebook?
because more people were on Facebook back then.
Right.
Like a wider age range, whereas like Instagram, you know, coming from just photos and like barely introducing video.
Yeah.
It's like not that many people were on there or on there that frequently.
Mm.
So you have Facebook where it was kind of still like people's MySpace, checking up on friends
Right.
and if you're in college. So you were getting more content, I feel like, on Facebook, which got more exposure for our pages. And we could still upload the videos. We could still, I don't know when we started going live, but like that was a big thing back then too. Like going live, it was like, oh my God, they're shouting out our name and all that stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know why it was easier to get a following on Facebook.
Huh. Would that come into play when you were cracking brand deals at that point? Because now you have like these two platforms.
You always would want to showcase your total number. So I would add up all the totals and be like, I have 500,000 followers, but I didn't have it on just one platform. I would break it down. But I think like seeing that was like already eye-catching.
Right.
And then they decide like, oh, well, actually, they might have approached me for Instagram, but then when they found out I had even more on Facebook, then I was able to flip it to a Facebook deal and maybe even get a little bit more money.
Damn.
Because I had more of a following.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shit. So what was like some of the most wild brand deals that you did at that time? Like, because in that era it's completely different than it is now. But like, do you remember any of those that you were just like, God damn, that's crazy?
Definitely a Jolly Rancher one for the Olympics.
Yeah.
I think that was like super random and like it just being candy and like, yeah, I was just like, that was weird, but it was cool. What else? Wes and I, this is more recent, but like doing a Madden one, that was really cool. We've done Lyft. We've done...
What'd you guys do for Madden? I do a ton of shit with them.
It was for maybe 2 years ago, the game, and the campaign was about how it's more lifelike. So we did a video with Marlon Webb. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's crazy.
Maybe.
He makes the like face.
The what face?
Why'd I even try?
Yeah, I know.
Don't show that.
he makes a face.
Crazy faces. And so we were all of a sudden playing the game, and the next thing you know, we're on a real football field, and like I'm running after them. I turn into a cheerleader, but then I'm trying to chase Wes, and then he throws the ball, and it was actually the remote control because we're still playing in the living room. And he throws it at the TV and breaks it, and we're all just like, "Are you serious?" So I think that was one of
that's crazy.
The most creative, like, fun videos to do. And like, if you look at other creators, like, I don't think they would have like gone through the lengths and the special effects and stuff to do all
field
that.
And
Yeah. And to date, I still think Ocean's 8 was the craziest. Like, me going to New York and me being able to interview like one of my favorite actresses of all time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what, that was like, you just get in, you have limited time with them?
Yeah, it was literally like Good Morning America, ABC News, Brandi, another talk show. And I'm just like, they prepped me for like 2 minutes. They're like, as soon as you walk in, you have 5 minutes. If you want to waste that time introducing yourself, taking pictures, then that's on you. But you have to answer, or you have to ask these questions, and you have to get like your content. So already I was like, oh my God. I mean, I do want to say hi. I don't want to be rude, but I don't have enough time. Yeah, it was crazy.
So what?
And then we go to the premiere, and then they had an after party at Cartier with billions of dollars of jewelry all around and access to rooms that only like
the
millionaires can get. Yeah.
Right. Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think a lot of experiences outweigh like the brands.
Totally. So what would you go by yourself for that, or
it's usually a group. Sometimes I get to bring a +1.
But how did you film this? Like, if you're interviewing?
Just vlog style, and then they had like their real cameras, and then they just gave me like a memory card.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you had to literally stand there like this and be like, hey, what's up?
It was literally like a sit down, like whole setup room. Like they rented out the penthouse of the hotel.
Oh,
and the
shit.
girls were in there just one day. Oh, and that was another thing. They were like, you can pick room A or room B, like The Matrix. It was like, do you want room A with Mindy Kaling, Sarah Paulson, and Rihanna wasn't there. Another lady that was in it. Or do you want the room with Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, and Awkwafina? And I was like, I love Mindy. I love The Office.
Right.
What am I going to do? And then I picked Sandra.
Yeah, you got to go Sandra, man. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Sandra's the girl. That's crazy. So you would walk in, and they were already there, and so you basically just, hey, what's up?
So I was flown in the day before. We had like an influencer dinner briefing the night before, like, this is what's gonna happen tomorrow. Don't wear these colors, you know, show up like this. And then the next morning it's like breakfast, and then they shuttle us to the hotel. There's paparazzi outside because by this time they've seen them walk in.
Yeah.
So it's like all of us walking through. They're telling us not to say what we're there for, and like it was just like my first like
really
kind of Hollywood experience in New York.
How did, like, for you with that specific interview, how do you feel like it went for you as someone that does the interviews, and do you feel like you took advantage of the full 5 minutes?
I don't even remember what happened. Like, that's how nervous I was. I'm surprised I said words because I was so nervous. Looking back, like, you could just tell I was like, hey.
Oh God.
I didn't sound that bad, but I do wish I was a little bit more comfortable to have a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But I got what I needed, and I didn't blow it.
Right.
So I'm happy with that.
Were they like adamant about the 5 minutes? You're out of here?
Oh yeah.
Like
like they cut us off mid-sentence.
Really?
Like, all right, you're done. Yeah, because their press junket is so crazy.
Of course.
Like, they can't run over. And I'm sure, like, Brandi versus Good Morning America.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We got to keep it strict. Oh, and then, honestly, probably the first best experience was doing the Kevin Hart What Now promo. Going to Hawaii to film with Kevin Hart.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
What, to make a sketch or something, or what was the promo?
Yeah, so this was his first stand-up that he took to the theater.
Yeah.
And he was filming the first Jumanji then, him and The Rock, and everybody were in Hawaii, and he was like, I can't even come to, like, them. They have to come to me. So they had invited Wes, Daystorm, Batch, Clarity, and I think Tonio Skits to come do sketches with him. Like, it was like free range. It's like, show up, give Kevin the script, you have 30 minutes and get whatever you can get. So yeah, we all flew out there. Wes got invited, and I was like, well, I'm coming, so you're gonna find a spot for me. Yeah. And so his was like a classroom skit where Kevin Hart was a Spanish teacher, and I was like they had me speaking Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. And that was my first role. So I'm there with Tonio Skits like 20 minutes before we're meeting Kevin Hart, and he's teaching me the Spanish sentence I need to say. So I'm already like freaking out. Yeah, I'm in Hawaii, shooting a sketch with Kevin Hart, and I gotta speak Spanish.
Right.
And we only have 30 minutes, so if I mess up, like, I'm gonna ruin it for everybody.
Oh God.
That was crazy.
But he loved it. What up, creators? I want to remind you about our community at jointhehomies.com. The homies are the squad of legends who support what we do here at Black Window Cream, so we can continue to build this platform into the best educational space for content creators on earth. And in return for that support, we give you a bunch of sick perks all month long, like access to our live stream tutorials and hangouts, bonus podcast episodes, and so much more. Check us out at jointhehomies.com. Let's go!
Yeah,
Kevin seems like a person who's like really open to collaboration, obviously.
Yeah, he's super chill and like really fun and humble, and he's not like, it's, even though his schedule is so crazy, I still don't know how he gets all this stuff done in a day. But you wouldn't tell, like, he doesn't come in tired, he doesn't come in cranky, he's just like ready and appreciative that we're there. Which
has got to be so inspiring for you guys to like come in from this different angle and see what it's like, you know, taking him going this like traditional route, I guess you would call it. I don't know, it's interesting to see that and kind of get an experience of like how to move. Yeah,
there's certain actors and celebrities who were like made for social media. They just didn't know it. Like Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm glad he's here, but even if he started like 2 years ago, like, it would have been amazing.
I know. We just, so every Wednesday we do a morning roast segment where we like talk on different topics, and this one that comes out, I think a week before this episode will drop, it's called We Stan Will Smith, and it's literally, we literally just talked about him yesterday for like a half hour, because he's like a pioneer of being able to, it's crazy when you see these celebrities like I didn't know Leonardo DiCaprio had an Instagram.
I didn't either.
But when you go to it, it looks like it's an Instagram ran by his nonprofit. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it doesn't feel like him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need you to know anything about him. And all these people are like the same thing, where they're just like off the grid, and they're so famous before, so they don't even have numbers. And that's probably why they don't put an account out, because it's like, well, then I look like I'm not as famous as I am. But then he comes in full court press and just destroys. But I think what's cool about Will and Dwayne Johnson and all these people is like, and Kevin, it's like they open up the door for collaboration and they bring in different creators that are gonna try new things that they may not have done before.
Yeah, because they respect the space. Like they know that they're kind of just joining and they have like the fan base. Yeah. But they didn't like start from sketches and doing all this stuff. So I think it's smart on their end to like utilize who was there kind of from the beginning. Yeah, I love that. Is it when you guys do collaborations, is it usually like you coming up with an idea like, oh, this will work well with this person, I want to reach out to them and see if they have time? And because that's what Vine was like, you got excited when you saw your favorite Viner working with the other favorite Viner, blah blah blah, and like they would make these videos. Now I feel like it's happening again with are you doing TikTok? I am. Yeah, I'm newly addicted. It's funny. I really thought that I wasn't gonna like it because it was Musical.ly. Yeah. And so I had my old page from Musical.ly that has just been sitting there. Right. But now, I'm doing TikToks and it's kind of reminiscent of Vine days, but even a little bit easier because there's no dialogue. I'm so far like doing the dances and like the voiceovers. Yeah. I do need to work on like creating original stuff because I feel like that's what helps you stand out more. Yeah. But like the other day, last week, like 6 of us girls got together and I have 28 draft TikToks in my phone right now. Like to drop? Yeah. All like different. We would just shoot them, draft it, draft it. And so every day I'm like uploading 3. That's so sick. Yeah, I was at like 5K last week. Now I'm at like 16. Goddamn. Yeah, and I'm just posting. It's so like effortless. Well, and it's also, it seems to be like, when Vine was really popular because people could share videos. Oh yeah, that's what I wish they would have. Like Revine, they should like be able to share a TikTok. But then it might be too saturated. I've thought about like why they might not be doing it. But how'd they do it on Vine? I mean, I don't remember being annoyed by like seeing a bunch of the same Vines over and over again. Yeah. Was that how it was? Like if 15 people reposted your video, am I the consumer? Because I follow all of them, seeing your video 15 times? I wonder the ratio between like how many people used Vine and how many people used TikTok. Because I feel like Vine, a lot of people watched Vine, but they weren't making Vines. Right. Whereas like everybody's making TikToks and watching TikToks. Because the famous people of TikTok are just regular. I'm in high school or junior high or some shit. Yeah, it's crazy. But they're famous now. Like, there's and one like, girl. I know you're doing this at lunch. Like, I see you in the cafeteria. It's crazy. But it's interesting because I'm trying to figure out like, it doesn't look like there's a lot. Like the people that get millions of views, those don't feel like ads. Like I only see the actual ads that TikTok makes me see. You know what I mean? But I'm interested to see how will they prevail into this space, right? That I feel like this is where they would all want to get famous and go to, is like having access to celebrities, having access to all this stuff. And I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to watch from me like working with brands so much and seeing how brands navigate and shit. Like I was just thinking of this. This makes me think of another funny thing was when I was doing a bunch of stuff with EA. I directed some shit for Madden, and then we were going to do another Madden video that we were doing, and we pitched Batch on it to be like the co-lead or something on this sketch. And I remember we offered him like a dumb amount of money, like thick bag, which I thought was sick. He was like 8 hours of work, like maybe it was like 70 grand or something, and he had to turn it down. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, he doesn't want to do it because we need him to post on Facebook and Instagram, and he charges like way more for just one of those. And we were like, dang. Whoa. And that shit was when I realized what this whole platform can do for people. Yeah, he's on a whole other level. It's insane. Yeah. And he did it like taking people to YouTube and having his like really long sketch videos where he was like shooting on Reds and you know what I mean, like trying to experiment. It's like everyone seems to kind of get the grip on people and then go in their own space. Yeah, you got to try new things. Like when Daystorm did Trapped, it was like a play on like R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet. Yeah. And that like took off crazy. It was just supposed to be a couple videos and he ended up doing like 30 or something. Damn. Like kept putting more people in the cast and stuff, and like that was really fun. And then as soon as we're all like, yeah, what's the next one, he's like, no, I'm done with that, I'm doing something else. Like he's really good at like just trying new avenues all the time.
That's interesting. I know like Woody did the remix of Kevin's stand up.
Yeah, so many people are doing that now. I feel like he was the first.
And I know, but then he just did a couple and he stopped too.
Yeah.
But that got Kevin interested in him, which is sick, and then he brought him on his platform. Kevin's intro video, I think for what's it, Laugh Out Loud? Yeah. He like made the first video or something. I don't remember what it was, but the same dude that did the VFX when in our video that hasn't come out yet, fire video, probably get tons of views. Yeah. I think it's like you're holding your phone and Woody pops out of the phone. Like my friend did.
I do remember that because I was at the launch for that, and I think they showed it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So yeah, that's КВК. He did all the VFX for that, but he's been on the podcast and shit too. It's crazy just how people link through all this shit and like get connected to like major projects and then like low level projects. But when you go into starting to do that, when did you really start taking the reviews serious? Like, was it just because you were, oh shit, I just interviewed Sandra Bullock and like all these other people? Or
yeah, I didn't even start doing it then. Like I gave a really brief review for that, but I think the first one I tried to do, which looking back now, I'm like, what was I thinking? I did Ma because I got that crazy package and the movie was just so bizarre. I was like, I want to see what other people think too. And I filmed it in my brother's backyard, just like with my phone. And then I was like, okay, we got to do better than that. And then I thought about like green screen and where I could set it up at home. Honestly, Joker was the one where I was like, it benefits me having like the access and being able to jump on it before other people. Because sometimes I'm seeing it a week early or 2 weeks early. Queen and Slim, I saw 2 months early. Wow. So I'm like, let me take advantage of this. But because Joker was so unique in that they didn't do any screenings, like it wasn't a big influencer run at all. There weren't like, I don't think he did interviews until after the movie. It was such a like, what is going on with this movie? People were interested that it caught on really quickly when I posted. Quickly for me, like it's only at like 2,000-3,000. Right. But like for not posting at all, and then that one, I was like, okay, let me just challenge myself to do this for movies that I like really enjoy.
And there's like such a good audience for obviously films. People watch films, and then if films do really, really well and people start searching for these interviews, or they start searching, it's like as you become kind of this goat in that space, it's like then even the film, they're going to want you to have longer conversations with these actors, or you know what I mean, because it's at some point we'll switch to being more organic than getting a late show, because it's like a late show goes out and most people only see like a tiny little minute clip from it and don't even watch the full thing because they don't have whatever network it is, I guess. Yeah. What is your kind of goal right now moving forward? Like in this space, you're still making varieties of different pieces of content. Like what do you want to be doing moving forward?
I want to, like you said, take reviews to the next level. I've already gotten approached like, hey, can you review my independent film? What would it take? And I'm like, whoa, I haven't even broadcast that like I'm open to like doing that. But that's like something new that I'm trying to think about, like if that's something I can fit in my schedule and make a thing. I'm in acting class, like I said, that was like my main goal, so trying to just blend those worlds, or at least be able to work on them equally at the same time, which is why I think I've been navigating towards movies, because I get to study the actors, I get to be around the producers, the directors, like know the environment, practice for my own red carpet, stuff like that. And then just growing my Instagram, I want to kind of solidify my brand. I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, which I don't mind, but like I want people to be able to know, like, all right, this is Love Brandi Marie. So I've been opening up more. Like I said, I was brought to the Like a Boss premiere in New York, and they had us make a video of like, well, how did you become a boss? And it really got me thinking, like, yeah, I'm my own boss now, but I'm not the boss that I want to be. So I do need to level up in all these areas. And then I really just opened up and gave my journey of how I even got to LA, which I've never shared publicly yet. And I got really good feedback, like, oh wow, we all thought that, you know, you influencers kind of just it happened. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how could you think that? There's so many of us. We all have struggles, but a lot of people don't talk about it.
Right.
And they kind of just make it seem like it's all glamorous. But I'm definitely open to like sharing. Like, I don't mind sharing anything that I've learned or like helping people along the way. Like, I go to VidCon. I like to do panels. Like, just sharing information and working my way towards my own movie and TV show.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is it acting class? Like, can you talk about what the experience is like for people who don't know? I don't know what acting class is like, but how often do you go to those classes? Like, are you going specifically for, like, do you take a class for, like, I want to be able to be a detective someday? There's a class for that, or is it just a general, like, overall you're learning as what these acting
First
things are
of
like?
all, there's so many acting classes in LA, and like it's good and bad. So definitely get recommendations and like people who've actually gone, because there's so many people out there to just take your money.
Right.
They don't really know what they're talking about, or paying for like, oh, go to this casting workshop, and you really think like, all right, I'm paying $500, I'm gonna get cast in something, and like nothing happens.
Right.
So they're so expensive, so you really got to be strategic. And if you're gonna spend that money, I'm currently at Margie Haber studio, and I like going to acting coaches who were actors.
Right.
There's some who are like, they've never acted, they've just taken acting class, and I'm
study.
like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know about that. But I just finished an intensive, which was twice a week for like 7-hour classes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and you do stuff on camera. You got to come in ready. They train you in such different ways. Like, there's a cold read where it's like they prepare you for how an audition is, because sometimes you'll get an audition overnight. Like, oh, you got to go audition for this tomorrow at noon.
Right.
And you get it at 10 p.m. Like, how are you supposed to prepare like 12 pages and have it memorized? So they give you the tools from like, this is what you do if you forget your line. This is how you ask if you can take it back again, or like, don't ask to take it back from the top if you're already halfway down.
Right.
Like, you learn so much. Right now I'm in an ongoing one where every week we just get a new genre and we just have to make it our own. So we've done Mad Men, like using old scripts, so you can kind of adjust to like what the casting was looking for after reading the pilot, because that's also like the tricky part, is like you never know what they're looking for if you've never seen the show or like the movie's not out.
Yeah.
And it's really just about being you. Like, people know who they want, like the first 2 lines. It's off of your look, and it's off of how confident you are, and kind of just your interpretation of the role.
Have you started to do a bit of like auditioning?
I was auditioning. It's crazy because I'm looking back, I was like not prepared. I've auditioned for a lot of like big things. I just don't think I was ready.
Right.
And I wasn't trained right, because I'm such a nervous wreck. So like the audition, I'm like, but if it was at home and I'm doing it like by myself, I killed it.
Right.
But once you get in the room, and it's because I didn't know all those tips and tricks.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with like 15 people staring at you with a blank face. Like, they could love you, but they still just have to be like, okay, thank you.
Right.
And then you're like, oh crap, I failed. But that's not even the case. So like, I've auditioned for Riverdale, The Flash, Cobra Kai, a lot of like, I guess TV shows, not really movies.
How do you go about, like, do you have someone that represents you now for that stuff?
I had an acting manager, and then Batch's sister Christina is my like social media kind of all around manager.
Dope.
But at the time I was with Luba Rockland for acting.
So then they would go kind of hunt, or they're the ones that are kind of
I would just
seeking.
get an email like, are you free tomorrow at 12? You're gonna go read for this. And then I'd have to drop everything I'm doing and like prepare for it. So that's also like why social media is such like a great job to have, attacking that career goal as well, because my schedule's open and I kind of make it up as I go.
Right. And the beauty of it is that I'm trying to remember who it was, Hannah Stocking maybe, that I was with one day, and then they're like, oh, we have to go to Atlanta to be in this like Tyler Perry movie.
Oh yeah, they were in Medea's Halloween.
Yeah.
Boo or something.
But they hired like one of the influencer people to be an actress, and then she was there, and I think Tyler was like looking through her Instagram and was watching the videos and was like, oh, this girl's funny too. Is she available right now?
Oh, I didn't know he picked
It was
them
some
like
random-
that. That's crazy.
yeah.
Because it was her, Inanna,
Yeah.
and Lexi was in it too.
And then that was it, but it was like
And
something
Liza.
like that. Yeah, they're like, oh, this person's funny. Like, are they? They literally would be like, are you available? And like, yeah. And then they flew out the next day. They were in a movie, and I'm like, what the fuck? But like, you don't realize that so many actors are doing. My homie was an actor is an actor that I lived with for a while when I moved out here, and I would always help him film his audition tapes and stuff. And there's so many audition tapes, and they feel like they got it. And I even did it with Lil Romeo. I was at his house, and he needed me to shoot something, and it was just him, and it was for Will Smith, and I have no idea if the part ever came, but it's like, even at that status where people know you know what I mean? Like, Will knows who Rome is, and but he still has to audition because there's all these other heads that have to make a decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's got to be,
There's a girl that was just in my acting class. She just sold a show to Hulu, and she's in acting class because she wrote herself as the lead character, and they're making her audition for it.
For her show?
Yes, that she wrote. That she just sold to them. And she, like, had no idea that she was going to have to audition for her own show.
That's crazy.
So she's like, I've never auditioned before. She kind of thought it would be like an Issa Rae thing where like she had awkward black girl and she's just insecure. And they're like, no, we need to see if somebody else can do it better. I'm like, what?
That's brutal.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure when you sell that thing, you're for sure attached. You know what I mean? Like, but so now she's taking class, because that's what another thing I'm always interested in. I'm like, do actors and actresses continue to go to like acting schools during like their whole time? Like, is that like something they all do?
I know the quote is always like Denzel still goes to acting class. I don't know if he actually does, or if it's consistent, but for sure, if you're doing a new role or new character you've never done, you have to train for it. Like Michael B. Jordan doing Killmonger. Like, that was a whole new character he had to like attach himself to.
Yeah, it's like the same part as like getting a trainer to get your body in shape for the role. It's like you gotta mentally understand how to attack. Interesting. That's so crazy. That's gotta be one of the most stressful jobs to do, and heartbreaking jobs as well.
It is. Like, you have to be so willing to accept rejection, because that's what it is most of the time. Like 100 no's before maybe the one yes, and then you start all over again until you become like a huge name.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Well, shit, this is great. I know you're wearing some Beyonce swag right now. She walked in, she's wearing the
First of
Coachella.
all, you guys, I was so excited. Like, I feel so honored to be here because I'm such a fan of all of your work, like from the Chris Brown days. And then when you joined Beyonce team, I was like, okay, Ben, what are you doing? And like all the videos you post, I'm like, I don't know if people understand, like, yes, Beyonce is amazing and she is what she is, but like, you capturing it in the ways that you capture it, like, that's talent.
Well,
like,
shit. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's fucking, it's always funny. Like, I don't know. It's funny as hell. It's just weird. Because I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I planned on this shit or ever working with her or whatever. And it's cool to see it come full circle. And then obviously to hear from people that, like, get my side of shit, but also are super fans of what she does, because she just takes it to another level or whatever. But you were just telling us you went from the OTR2 tour. You did both
and I was
shows?
bragging about you the whole time, so I could see you on the stage with the camera, and I'm like, I know him. He's getting that shot.
That shit's crazy. The show's crazy, right? What do you think of the show?
I mean, I don't know how she keeps outdoing herself. Like, I know that I say I'm her biggest fan, and you might not believe me, but I'm literally her biggest fan. And
I don't, because you want to know why? Because I saw similar, like, people. I became friends with these fans that went to like all the US shows. Like, I saw them in the front row.
I wish I could do that.
Isn't that insane?
I would do that.
Every show.
I was at Coachella too. Couldn't see a thing. I had to watch the screen because everybody was trampling me.
That was my camera. There. That was one of my camera
Thank
angles.
you so
That's
much.
Cool, right?
Yes.
I thought it was terrifying.
And then I didn't even know at the time that it would be on Netflix. So I was like low key trying to record the whole thing so I could go watch it back.
Oh, I always talk about that.
Release DVDs. I'm not DVDs, but like concert.
Yeah, right.
Like,
everyone fucking tweets me, Formation Tour DVD. I'm like, I didn't work with her on that. quit asking me about.
Have the access.
No, I don't.
I know.
Fuck out. Like, Jesus, like they have so much footage everywhere. Like,
I know.
But goddamn, people ask me about that all the time.
I feel like she
I
has a master plan, and like stuff's just gonna drop.
Yeah, she's a legend. She's crazy.
Yeah.
But that I didn't know it was gonna be on Netflix either. So
Yeah.
it was crazy to watch. We always talk about that too. I'm like, I always feel like we always decide like when we're shooting tour, we'd be like, who, you know, sometimes we like stand on the barriers to like get a shot or whatever. And there's all these fans and you feel bad getting up in front of people, but we would just do it to people that were like on their phones watching the show through their camera. Cause I'm like, you're sorry, but that angle doesn't matter as much as my angle. And also just sometimes enjoy that shit.
I literally had to like talk to myself. I'm like, Brandi, just enjoy it. But like, I also was like, you guys need to see the amazingness of her right now. So I'm just like,
crazy, right?
I do.
So nuts. I know. Shit's super weird. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that. There was something else I wanted to piggyback off that, but I can't remember.
Sorry.
But you are wearing, I don't have that
This
merch. Is that from Coachella?
No, this I got it as a birthday gift because people just know, and I've been waiting to debut it. I was gonna do the TikTok challenge that everybody's doing.
Are they doing a Beyonce TikTok challenge?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like a dance. It's like the first 15 seconds of Who Run the World, or I don't remember what. There's a couple songs going around, but yeah, you just like make up your own intro to this remix of a song, and it's just like quick dance choreo. So it's like, I'll wear this for that. I text all the girls that were on tour as soon as TikTok started happening. I'm watching these like real basic farm girl, white girl, Midwestern, and they're getting millions of views on these little dance things. I'm like, yo, y'all need to take this over because this shit is crazy. Like for real, you have to do this. But Ashley's like the first person to post anything on it, and she should probably do this little thing you're talking about right now. I need to know what it's called because a lot of times the challenges aren't like, it's not like, oh, the Beyonce challenge, right? It's something random.
Well, now it's like all the yummy girls doing yummy.
I did the yummy
you did
challenge.
it?
Yeah.
Did you drop it?
Yeah.
I gotta find you. I gotta follow you. I love watching this shit. It's hilarious. I won't post anything. I posted like 6 videos and I'll post like fire shit. No love. Then I post a video of my girlfriend's toenails like stuck to her sock. 500,000 views. And I'm like, what? And I'm getting mad followers every day because isn't that crazy? I'm just like, what the fuck? And
you never know what's gonna hit.
I know.
So you gotta just like keep going. That's what I'm trying to get used to now. Because like I did one of the challenges where it's like what people think I am versus what I am. Because like everybody is confused on what my ethnicity is, and that one took off. But then this one that I spent like a really long time learning the dance, nobody cared.
No love. Shit. Yeah. I wonder if you delete it and repost it if it would like.
I don't know
how their platform handles that.
Because they did say, like, I've met with TikTok and they're like, your feed isn't like important like how Instagram's is.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter what it looks like.
Right.
And it's like quantity over quality, kind of like the more you post the better, whereas like Instagram where like it has to be like a really good post, this is the exact opposite. So getting used to that mindset is kind of stressing me out too, because I'm like, no, I shouldn't post another one today, but the more the better. Well, shit, there's a great tip for all you future TikTokers. Yes. Quantity over quality. But at the same time, I don't want you making bad videos. Right. It's just like, there's don't make so much perfect. Trash on there. There's so much trash on there. You have to, oh man, that's the only part. If like people could kind of wean out and like give up the dream early, that'd be dope. Because then it'd just be a bunch of, dope. You know what I mean? It'd just be a bunch of better shit. Like, because you have to scroll for like, Dave will sit here and when I try to show him TikTok, he's sitting here like, staring at like, why are we doing this? And I'm just like, because I promise you we're gonna find one that's funny as hell. It's like, it's in there. It's so addicting. No, this is great. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I so I have a hashtag thing, but I also just realized now, and I'm nervous that everyone's been wondering, like I have this cut on my lip and it's because my cat and I always fuck around with each other, and she got my ass today or last night. So I just now wanted to make a note about that for anyone that's judging me in that. Sorry for your injury. Thanks so much. She always does it. It's a pain in the ass. It's a little cat love. I love cats. Me too. I could never have one, but they're funny. You could. I didn't. No, I don't. I wouldn't want one. I'd be scared to sleep at night. No, they're so mischievous. She was laying in my arm last night, and then bam! See, you never know. No, that's because I picked her up and I was like, "Oh, you want me to put you down? You want me to put you down?" And then she just looked at me and she got my ass. I deserve every time I'm cut in the face, which is all the time on this podcast.
I deserve every time that happens.
okay.
So you should get a cat. They're cool.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, check it out. Cats are dope.
Check it out.
All right, before we wrap this up, this is what we do. I'm trying something new. We usually would always tell everyone to go to. So okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
They're gonna go. A lot of people listen on audio only.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, know that there's a YouTube video. You can see our pretty faces chatting over here. But I want you to go to the YouTube video, and they're gonna basically put this hashtag that you pick. So I'm letting you pick a hashtag. So they have to put the hashtag so we both know, like, whenever we go to watch this interview, that they made it. So I also want them to put a takeaway. So you have to put this hashtag that Brandy's about to pick and give us one takeaway from this episode, like what you learned or found out about you or anything interesting. I'm interested in that.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
cool.
so what is the hashtag?
Anything
relating
you
to?
want.
Anything
You want. Just something that's like fun that we both know that means that they listened an hour and 26 minutes of us chatting.
I kind of want it to be like the bees, like Ben, Brandi, Beyonce. Like we're all
I like that.
3B for life.
3B for life. Is that the hashtag?
Yes.
3B for life and a takeaway.
The number 3.
I love that. All right, that's solid. The
It's
3Bs.
so random.
No, it
I
works.
wasn't prepared, guys.
You got the Beyonce shirt on.
Yeah.
I got Ivy Park. It makes sense.
See?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about this
The 3Bs.
Ivy Park merch. That's another podcast.
I got
Because
none.
I was in line.
You were?
Yes.
Sold out?
It was a thing. The shoes were sold out. I'm very upset because I feel like my outfit is not complete.
Oh, man.
And they didn't tell me like where I could get it. Like I didn't know it was at Foot Locker until the night before.
Shit.
Yeah. it's a
Drama,
lot.
man. I know. But the person that would give me the plug, she hit me up for my shoe size and she told me they don't have my shoe size. I said, give me
I was
half size
campaigning
smaller.
hard for an orange box to show up somewhere in my life.
They'll come when you least expect it. All right, we're wrapping this up. Anything else you want to say? This is great. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
You guys support Ben, everything he does.
Thank you.
Keep listening. Yeah, I already learned stuff listening to your other episodes.
Shit.
So
That's
if you
dope.
have any other questions, I mean, I'm always down to answer,
Love
give
that.
tips.
Yes.
Find me.
We'll
on
put
my
all your
channels.
links. We'll put all the stuff in there. But no, this
Yeah.
was awesome. Appreciate it. Now we're gonna get some photos with you.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Bye, people.
Bye.
That's it for episode 154. Big shout out to Brandi for coming on the podcast. We appreciate you. Make sure to follow her. The links are in the description. You gotta check out her work. She's hilarious. If you ever wanted to ask any of our podcast guest questions during the Q&A experience, you can do that by joining us on Patreon. It's a way to financially support the podcast, help us keep the lights on, and keep bringing out more amazing content like these interviews with Brandi. So go to jointhehomies.com to check that out. And that's it. Enjoy, your whole week. I'm very tired. I just got back from Miami shooting content for the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl starts in like an hour. So I'm going to go tune into that while I edit. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. We're at like 10K or something. We're doing pretty good, but we'd do better if you joined us. So at Black with No Cream, follow us. And join us on YouTube, subscribe there, or whatever podcast platform you're tuning in right now. Subscribe, leave reviews, do all the shit that most people would plug right now because it helps all podcasters out there. This isn't easy. We appreciate you. I love you. Have a good week. Goodbye.